Welcome to Easy 3 Sport Production. I'm your host, Suttles, and before we get started, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that sub button. Make sure you click that like button. YouTube always likes it. And be sure to leave your comments in the comment section. I want to hear what you got to think about this next subject. So without further ado, let's get it. Okay. The time has come. In this video, I will be talking about my opinion of Daniel Jones over 11 games to see if he warranted coming back for next year. Now, if you haven't done it already, go ahead and hit that sub button. Make sure you click that like, and I want to hear your comments after this video. I really want to know what you guys think about DJ. But as for me, Daniel Jones, all right? He's played very admirably for the New York Giants this season. We have seen the progressions, and for the last 3 years, he has been ramrodded with bad coaching, bad schemes, and he really hasn't progressed too much. I mean, you've seen very small steps, but this year he has taken a bigger leap. But going into the second half of the season, and you see the limitations of what this guy actually has. He has all the intangibles of what you're looking for. The leadership, he knows how to speak, he knows how to work the media, unlike Zach Wilson. But he knows how to do all of those things. But when it comes to the play on the field, it just seems like that he's not capable of turning up to a certain level for the consistent or a longer duration. So for me, I believe that the Giants, I'm not looking for Patrick Mahomes, not looking for Josh Allen, because those guys are very rare. But what I am looking for is a guy that I can look at and I can confidently say, hey, this guy is our franchise quarterback, without a shadow of a doubt. Like, without squinting my eyes, or without looking at advanced analytics, without like having to nitpick and say, oh, he's done this good, he's done this. I think us as Giants fans, we have gotten into this mode where we had Eli Manning, and Eli was good for the time that we had him, simply because he took a very long time to progress, but he was still winning, and he always had an elite attribute, which was making comebacks. He was always clutch. No matter what, he was always clutch, and they was able to build a team around him, and he was able to get 2 Super Bowls. I don't think Giant fans really understand how difficult it is to find a franchise quarterback. You can go decades without having a franchise quarterback. I mean, we just have to look at what the Giants did. Phil Simms retired in, I think, 93, and he was our franchise guy, even though he continuously kept getting hurt. 93. We drafted Eli in 04. It took us 11 years to find our franchise guy. We went through Danny Cannell, Kent Graham, and, you know, we had to get Kerry Collins off of the free agent market to end up going to a Super Bowl, but it took a very long time to find that franchise guy. So to get him in the draft while that guy is still there is very rare. I've only seen one team do it, and that was the Packers. But outside of that, Danny, to me, is just not the guy. I mean, I gave him the 3 years. I said, you know, everybody's booing him and everything like that. I had seen his tape from Duke. I had seen the fundamentals that he had, and I was pretty excited. And after the first year, I was excited because I knew Pat Shurmur could work with this kind of talent. But once they got rid of Pat, it was a free-for-all. And you seen what happened to him. And to me, with my eye test, he's not the guy. People can bring up the analytics, the advanced analytics. And the argument that I hate the most is he doesn't have a team around him, so we can't give him a fair evaluation. That is not an excuse to not get rid of him. I don't want to hear that excuse simply because I've seen quarterbacks that had nothing around them and then they still looked very good. So just because you don't have that talent around you, you can actually evaluate a quarterback a lot better, because he's going to have to go through all of his progressions. He's going to have to literally show you every piece and every ounce of his talent to being able to get this team over the hump. When you have an elite wide receiver, sometimes you don't go through all your progressions, because you know that guy is there. You know that he is that guy, and you're going to get the ball to him. So you're going to literally ostracize everything that you know about the play, and you're going straight to him because he's going to be your bailout. He doesn't have a team around him. That is correct. But how is he working with this team around him? Now, we seen last year, because we had terrible backups, as in Mike Glennon, we looked very bad because our margin of error was very thin. Now, I believe if you put Tyrod Taylor in this offense right now, I believe we do the exact same thing of what we're doing right now. So, where does Danny stand? Does he move the needle for us? I don't believe that he does. Is the margin of error widen when he's on the field? No, the margin of error stays the same. And if you want to look at any quarterback with a margin of error, we can just take a look at what happened at Dallas. If Cooper Rush was playing in that game and committed those 2 turnovers and we got the 4th down stop, the Giants win that game, because the margin of error when Cooper Rush is there is thinner than when Dak is there. Dak threw 2 interceptions. They had 13 penalties. And we had a big 4th down stop, but yet they still won by double digits. Well, technically they won by 8, but that was a garbage time thing. But they won by double digits. Their margin of error is very thick with Dak, very thin with Cooper Rush. Daniel Jones, this team overall, margin of error is very thin. Does Daniel Jones widen it? No, he does not. It's the eye test. I know people don't want to hear it, but this is the eye test. Now, I am definitely a composer of bringing him back for next year. I don't want to see him on a franchise tag, because the franchise tag really does nothing for the organization. What I would say to do if I was the GM, I would give him a 2-year deal where I can get out of it after 1 and go from there. See what the money, see what he wants. Now, also, the thing that we have to think as Giants fans is, do Danny even want to be here? I mean, he's going to play his ass off because that's who he is. But does he even want to be here? When he sits down and he talks with his agent, him and his agent is going to try to get the most money possible for this kid, especially in a free market the way that it is right now. I mean, there are about 4 or 5 teams right now that's looking for quarterbacks that may have a better team than the Giants and be set where Danny can actually excel. So does he even want to be a Giant? Because we're not going to give him $30+ million to be what he is. Because from what I'm seeing what he is, he has been consistent this season. This is true. But when you look at Kafka, when you look at Dable, if you look at the play calling, the kinds of plays that they are calling it because they have limitations. Now, they have limitations on the offensive line and they have limitations with the wide receivers. But they feel even less confident that Daniel Jones can get this through, because they know that he has limitations where he cannot take this type of talent and bring them to the next level. And it's just the limitations. These guys want to throw the ball all over the yard. They want to be passing it 40 times a game. They want their quarterback to being able to throw for 3, 4 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns, get hot and just go. They came from 2 organizations that got the 2 top quarterbacks. And they literally seen how they got molded. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that they will move up in this year's draft to get a quarterback. if the price is right. That's not out of the expectation simply because Danny has limitations. And I believe that this is probably the best that we're going to see of Danny. I believe that this is probably his ceiling, which is going to be a backup in the NFL, but a starter if you need him to. But the way that Danny is going, he seems like the kind of starter that will excel when there's no expectation put on him. Because you've seen how good he played in the first half of the season when there's no expectation. Everybody thought we was going to be a 4 or 5 win team. No expectation. He comes out, he's playing pretty good. Still not passing the ball that great, but played very well to win. Now when there's a little expectation, now it's getting a little dicey. Now, Danny's like, he's still playing good, but he can't turn it up. He can't get to that next level. And that's the issue. And that's what typical backup quarterbacks in the league do. I mean, you look at Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, he gets hot and he literally will win you games. But as soon as there's expectations stored upon him, he's dropping the ball. Even you see it out there in Washington, Taylor Heineke. Every single time Taylor Heineke gets in, there's no expectation for him. So he goes out there, he balls out. When there's expectations, now it's a little different. Kirk Cousins is another one. He is great when there's no expectations. Once you get into a primetime game or a big game, he straight up folds like a lawn chair. And this just may be who Danny is. Can't be scared to admit it. It takes teams decades to find the right guy. We didn't get it on the first try. That is fine. There's a draft every year. There are quarterbacks coming out every year. You just need to evaluate them and see what can happen. But as for me, I do not believe Daniel Jones is in the long term for this organization. But I do believe that they will try to bring him back for next year because they're kind of stuck with him. Now, does Danny want to come back? Does Danny want to come back? That's going to be the question because still got to remember we have Tyrod Taylor and he was on a 2-year deal and this was just his first year. So he will be here next year. Danny may not. He may just go ahead, draft a quarterback. You got Tyrod as that bridge. He's been a bridge his entire career and just go from there. But I really want to know what y'all think about DJ. Let me know in the comment section. And until next time, I'm out.